reaching to the sky. Another reason why on each try. Hello! Welcome to the Atrioc broadcast here on September 27th, 2025. Boy, this year, huh? Flying by. We're almost to October. Good to see you, the most epicest crane. Rashishu, Pooty, bit me into parts. They were the problem. Polar BB. Dog No Way, Hexavalent Copper. Appreciate you. 31 months. Appreciate you. Big Time Rush. Thank you for the 49 months. I do appreciate that as well. I can't believe it's not the end of the year. It's the later part of the year. It's not the end of the year. There's many months to go. Tron Cat, it's good to see you too. Hello, all. Good to see you. Creamsicle, thank you for the 13 months. Canna Bean, thank you for the 9. Zelda Boy Biscuit, thank you for the 26 months. It is good to see you all. You live in a terrible time zone? What am I going to do? Huh? What am I going to do? I'm going to leave the sun and the surf? I'm going to leave my best friend, Gavin Newsom? I go over to his house and hang out all the time. How am I going to... No, I can't move to the East Coast, bro. I don't like Wawa. I don't like the cold. I don't like... Hey, I'm walking here. None of that stuff appeals to me. Your ass can't surf? Actually, you got me dead to rights on that. I tried to surf on a trip with my wife. We had a surfing instructor try to teach us both. She learned in like 10 attempts, and I wiped out the whole day. I think we were there for like 2.5 hours. I wiped out for 2.5 hours. I could not get it. It's a hard skill. It's a hard skill, dude. It's not an easy skill. I thought you'd be at 52. I am. Did you not read the title? What does the title say? Read the title. I don't know where it is. Look at the title and read it, and then figure out if I'm going to be at Fast 52. That's my question. That's my bro called balancing a skill. It is. Don't just put I can't at the end of it. Act like you said something profound. Balancing is a skill. Of course it is. You go to gymnasts and be like, wow, balancing, that's a skill. So that's a fucking, yes, it is a skill. Bro called skateboarding a skill. Yes, it is. No, they're all skills, bro. It's all things you practice. At what time do you have to be at Fast 52? Hey, I got a sincere question. Do you think you are my manager? Why don't you stop giving a fuck and I'll figure it out on my own, Bad News 33? Do you think you have to tell me or manage when my time is and when I should show up at events? No. So don't ask. They're already like they're already like 2 hours behind. Yeah, exactly. I'm well aware that they're way, way behind, and I'm glad that I have this stream to do. Otherwise, I would be sitting around many hours early. Can you give me a rundown of your status on all your tasks? Sir, yes, sir. Obviously. I saw your Newsom interview. How hard did you try to avoid mentioning Hitman after he asked? I tried pretty hard, as you probably well saw. I did not want to say, oh yeah, Hitman, that's the game where you fly around and assassinate people. What were we talking about again, Charlie Kirk? I was trying to make a point that video games are not connected to violence, and it would undermine my point if I talked about how the game I played is Hitman. Actually, it would actually help my point. Thinking back, I could have gone into it. I could have been like, hey, listen, to compound my point, I have about 10,000 hours in a video game called Hitman. I have no interest in violence. There's no connection. You can play a video game and it's not reality. But I'd rather just deflect because I didn't want to talk about video games that much. I wanted to talk about economics. Is Gavin Newsom coming to Fast 52? Yeah, he's going to do a 100% Tears of the Kingdom blindfold run, if you can believe it. He's actually cracked. He's actually going to do like an insane... I mean, he's going to get every Korok seed. How do you do that blindfold? I have no idea. You could have mentioned your 2 sniper strat. Speaking of that, if you're actually a gamer, you would know that they're patching Hitman, I think, to add the ability to carry 2 snipers. That's what I heard. I heard they're updating it so you can have 2 large weapons with your backpack slot or whatever. So 2 maybe get a 3 sniper meta. You are going to lose against Squeaks. Oh, I'm going to lose against the speedrunner of the year. Wow. Put me one-on-one against Michael Jordan. I might lose basketball, bro. Of course. He's the greatest speedrunner of the year. He won the award. It's like David versus Goliath. If I win, it'll be an incredible upset. It'll be an incredible upset. Bus goes round. Thank you for the prime. CP9 Neji. Thank you for the prime. By the way, if you are interested in watching our speedrun later, I add a little sweetener to the donation, to the prize. If you are the top donator or what, I don't know how it works. If you win the auction during Get to Work, you get to voice a character in the next game, in Isto's next game. You get to, we will, I mean, it's not going to be a long VO. It's going to be a line or whatever, but you get to be voice line. Does Isto know? I'm the coder here. Why do I got to ask Isto for permission? I fucking make the game from scratch. Isto is like the face of the operation, not the, can we say whatever we want? Obviously not. Just what a stupid question. No, you cannot just say whatever the fuck you want and we throw it in a video game on Steam. You get to be the guy standing by the gate going, come in, my friend, come in. I mean, it's going to be a scary game. You get to just deliver a line. You'll be like one of the monks or one of the monsters or whatever, but it'll be cool and it'll be for charity. So, thank you for the, hype train level 5. My God. Dan Clancy's trying to bribe me right now with this hype train, this treasure train straight to my coffers. Sir Sadbear, thank you for the, tier 1, Penguin. Thank you for the 19 months. Cardi McFly, thank you for the 2 months. Mr. Pastries, thank you for the 5. You're going to use the secret dev skips to destroy him. I wish I could hot patch the game to make Squeaks' copy unbeatable. And then I could just sit there and laugh on stage as I beat him in a 1v1. But more realistically, I'll just not win because I'm out of practice. We'll see though. You know, he was only good when he started the California fires to undermine me. Is this a paid position? I need the job bad. What a paid position? Is what a paid position? The VO line that you're auctioning? No. That wouldn't make any sense, would it? If you are winning a charity auction and then we pay you more than that anyway for the VO, that would just be a cost benefit calculation where you just, no, that doesn't, that of course not. We would not do that. That is, So slave labor. Actually, it's worse than slave labor because technically you're paying us. Slaves just weren't paid, but they didn't have to pay the people that were employing them. So technically it's worse. It is a paid position. You should have to pay your boss for the privilege of a job. I feel like we all low-key think that. We just won't say it. Nobody's brave enough to say it. That realistically, like, a job is so based and cool-pilled that you should have to pay your boss for the privilege. They do that in China? Not really. What they do in China is if they can't get a job, there are companies that will let you pay to have a fake job so you can impress your parents. It's not exactly the same thing, but there are fake. I should make a video about that with Stefik. I think it's very funny little concept. Have the parents caught on? I assume they always catch on because there's no money coming in. But anyway, the amount they're paying is very small. How do you afford it? It's because it's very, very cheap. It's very, very cheap. You're going to be late. I will not be late. And even if I was late, the fact that you are a little nag about it is worse. I would rather be 1,000 hours late than be a person that goes in someone else's chat and tries to tell them their schedule. Bro, the traffic is bad. I don't care. Bolden Brand. I don't care. I have hours. Why can't Lud pick you up with a private jet? Is he broke? Yes. If you were looking for a confirmation that Ludwig is secretly broke and lost all of his money, this is the confirmation. I would check to make sure this charity fund is really going to the charity, is all I'm saying. Somebody watch the till, okay? Money's coming in, and then Ludwig's like winking as he shovels it into his pockets. You could finish Silksong before you need to go on. I beat Silksong credits roll. I didn't beat it the way I want to beat it. Dude, I fought the spoiler alert. I fought Grandmother Silk like 3 more times. Fucking diced, dude. I could almost hit list this. I'm gonna get it down. That's a sick fight, and I am going to get it Absolute Radiant style. I cannot wait to unlock Godhome or whatever. Hey, Truck, I enjoyed your chat with Newsom today. Thanks for keeping him on subject. Did my best. I don't think I could have been on a more tactful job. Honestly, in my head, I was just like, bro, you only got 45, 50 minutes here. Like, don't let him. No, not to let him, but like, don't. I just thought I would wake up in 50 minutes. I would look up at the clock and be like, wow, I just talked about Fortnite for fucking 50 minutes. And be really disappointed in myself. So I did my best to not do that. I'm taking a course about AI for my educational master's program. I'm 90% sure the professor used AI to make the course and watches you. What makes you say that? Well, we're going to talk about AI in just a minute. I'm going to, no matter what, in like 5-10 minutes, I'm going to do a presentation that I've been wanting to do about a big announcement that happened about 4 or 5 days ago that I think is very, very interesting and very revealing as to what's going on in the markets right now. But I didn't want to do it so early because I talked about Nvidia a lot. So I waited a little bit, but now I can't wait any longer. Why did you do Evan Gao like that? What do you mean? I fucking advocated for him. I put Evan Gao up on a pedestal in front of the governor of California and said, "You're failing this man. What can we do more for Evan Gao?" Thought about the events at the Mindset World Championship? I have no idea. I told Evan he doesn't have to film anything for me either. Because I paid for Evan's flight and I was going to have him film some content for Marketing Monday, but I told him just have a good time. Because I couldn't think of anything that much. I don't want to put a bunch of work on him. So just fucking run it. He's done enough content for the channel and over his life. Did you see the new 007 gameplay video? Nah, I'm not going to watch any more of them after the first one. I'm just going to wait because I think it's going to spoil too much. He could be a reporter in the field, send him to Nepal. That would actually be funny. Sending Evan Gao around the world to go, but like, what if he gets hurt or something? Then it's my fault? That's not... I don't know about that. Wasn't this the conceit of the battle report? The conceit of the battle report was Dr. Battle steals my cash. That was the conceit of it. I give Dr. Battle cash and he insults my Fall Guys capability. It was that was sort of the concept in the ideation there. And it was very successful at that ideation. He fully executed it. Send Evan to El Salvador to investigate the prisons. That's true. Maybe I'll tell Trump Evan is an illegal immigrant from El Salvador and get him sent there, and then he can do an undercover operation exposing what's going on there. The only problem is, how do I get him out? How do I get him out? How do I get him out? I just reported my teacher for using AI in all his presentations and our assignments. My evidence, he did not bother removing the AI summary on our assignment. You reported him, huh? What if he reports you for using AI to answer all the prompts? Don't throw stones if you live in glass houses, bro. Don't narc on the teacher for AI slopping his lesson plan if you are AI slopping your responses. He's probably AI grading them too. That's the crazy thing, dude. The endless cycle of inhuman centipede. AI generated lesson plan, AI generated student answers, AI generated grading. Nobody at any level did any work from a human. Just everybody just pretending for someone else. Which is fine. Like, it's not fine anywhere, but I guess it's fine in high school when like you're forced to be there. But when it's college and you're paying a lot of money, that's crazy. You're paying a lot of money for the right to do nothing, and they do nothing to teach you. And at the end of the day, you get handed a degree. The academic equivalent of faking an orgasm. That sounds so much better than my college experience. What do you mean? Why? Paying $3,000 a semester on my class is basically a book club. Fucking, that's fine. Wait, if your class is a book club, that means you're reading a book. I think. Sorry, I had a chart I wanted to show. Yeah, right here. Here it is. Bro, people don't read anymore. Totally dead. Reading's, it's 10%. 10% of people might read. And that's probably being generous. People don't. It's your fault, bro. It's my fault. I have sold dozens of copies of Red Rising to impressionable youth. And it's my fault? No, it's not my fault, okay? I got kids to read one book once. Now, when I got them to buy As Gods Among Men and they realized it was boring as shit and they turned off from reading forever, is that my fault? Yes. That was a dumb pig. I cooked them, but we'll just got to find another one that's like Red Rising. We'll get there. Unironically, Crime and Punishment. I'm not going to recommend my chat to read Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment. Hey, you don't really read for fun? You're not really much of a reader? Let's start with Crime and Punishment. No, that's insane. That's not. No, it needs to be a book that is enjoyable. You got to remind people that reading is actually fucking hella fun when it's something you're interested in, and you're not being forced to read by your school. And that's why I think we're going to just do more and more smut, okay? We're going to read like The Wolves Inside Me. We're going to read Twilight. We're going to read 50 Shades of Grey. We're going to read Book Talk smut, okay? I saw that Charlie did like a book review of a Book Talk smut book. And he had like I didn't watch the video, but I clicked into it. And it was like, he had like notes on every page. Wait, where was it? What was it called? I was shocked. Is it this Once in a Lifetime Opportunity? No. What was it called? Would not recommend this anyway. Okay, look.
And
oh
yeah,
this is the end.
Do you want to join club?
Bro, it's crazy. He's got notes, sticky notes on all the different pages of like this insane like smut book. Bro, I said Charlie and you guys thought I was talking about Charlie Kirk. What kind of young Republican? How is that your first Charlie? It could at least be Charlie XCX, since I used Brat to conquer the... or Charlie Brown, or Charlie Sheen. Ain't he the one who bit that kid's finger? Dude, he'll never live that down. What does he look like now? Charlie bit my finger now, 2025. Bro, they look like they will fucking absolutely scam you with crypto. This looks like a fake podcast on TikTok about making it big with crypto. Holy. Charlie rug pulled me. That's funny. The two guys you do not want to be paired up with in the lab. I bet they're fun. But I would not want them on a group project. Yeah. Damn, this guy would fucking rug pull your ass, dude. Easy. They did sell an NFT? All right, well, easy call then. Have you heard of the author Quan Mills? What is this, like Quan My Nuts or something? You're trying to fucking get me? Is this like a Quan Mills? Okay, Quan Mills is a smut author. Like this one. Pregnant by the ogre thug from 63rd Street. I got both my homeboys pregnant. Tax season thoughts. Interesting. Seems like really interesting writing. I'll save it for the book club. Next Lemonade Stand book club book. True. Sounds like educational stuff. Yeah, maybe. I got the book when everybody knows because of you. It's the audiobook. Good. I hope you enjoy it. So far, I really like it. I had to stop reading it because I'm trying to finish the book club book for Lemonade Stand, but then I'm going to finish it. I'm very excited. It's very interesting, and I want to make a video on it. So if you don't want to read, don't fucking read. Watch YouTube as Atrioc summarizes the book that he wants you to read anyway. Okay? That's better. I'm going to put it into a professional 9 to 10 minute video or clip, and then you are optimizing your time better by not wasting it staring at pages of fucking torn up trees. Can you write a smut book about the economy? Yeah, I can, dude. That would actually be so sick. And it's just like Jerome Powell. Look at this. Look at this slutty look, dude. The Federal Reserve chair that fucked me. Okay? And it's this. This could be something. That damn smile. My interest has been raised. Jerome stared down his glasses at me over the desk. My interest just got raised. Holy. How about we go on a dual mandate? Holy. I should write this. Dude. This is a banger. This is an absolute banger. Something's rising and it's not just the national debt. Economic smut is a very funny genre of literature. Economic smut is very funny. I think that is like a very funny idea. I might do it. Maybe I would pull a Doug, write a book. Later in life, career pivot. Yeah, exactly. Once this stream is dead, any day now, I'll just pivot into economic smut, make a mint. Make a fucking mint. What are you running versus Squeaks later? I'm running Get to Work against Squeaks, probably around 10 p.m. in like 3 hours. And it'll be very fun. And then I'm going to be on the couch for a Spectacors Master Trilogy, Silent Assassin suit only Hitman run. So it'll be fun for both. And then I'll probably stay pretty late, have a good time, hang out with Linkus. It's fucking awesome that he's in town. So in that game where you fly around, yeah, exactly. I'm going to talk about flying around. Shouldn't you do a practice one? Shouldn't you live your own life? I wonder if I should just live my own life. I'm a Twitch chatter. I shouldn't tell Atrioc when to be certain places and what to do at certain times. Do we watch Crypto Shark Tank yet? No, we're going to, but not today. You do sound like that. That's exactly what you sound like. That is exactly what you sound like. That is your voice. I'm a Twitch chatter. This is what I sound like. Hey, Trip, aren't you worried about you're going to be late? I don't know where you live, and I don't know what the distance is, and I don't know the traffic, but I'm just worried you're going to be late, and I want you to tell me. All right, that's exactly what you sound like. Do a voice cell test right now. Easy. Voice cell. Hey, it's Atrioc here. I'm currently testing my voice. My favorite color is blue. The sky is... Oh, wait, allow. Hey, I'm Atrioc here. I'm currently testing my voice. My favorite color is blue. The sky is sunny. My voice is loud. Oh, my God. Wait, that's too high. Wait. Start over. Hey, it's Atrioc here. Currently testing my voice. My favorite color is blue. Sky is sunny. My voice is... What the fuck is this voice cell shit? Hey, Atrioc here. I'm currently testing my voice. My favorite color is blue. The sky is sunny. My voice is loud and clear. I'm using a proper there. And that's do you know what I'm saying? That's how I talk normally. That's my normal way of talking. Now let me do the chatter voice. Hey, Atrioc, aren't you worried you're going to be late? Aren't you worried you're going to be late for your speed run? I don't know anything about the schedule or when it is, but I just want to tell you that you're going to be late. That's what I'm hearing when you guys talk. That's what I'm hearing, dude. That's a very high. That is what I'm hearing from chat. All right, one more time. Let's see how low I can go. I am not a voice cell. Okay, this is how I think about Gavin, can we talk about the fucking economy for once? All right, here. Fuck me, dude. That's just impossible. My God. That's because it's content voice is what it's picking up on more than anything. All right. It's the problem is when I laugh too, I do the little heh and then it fucking spikes. Leviax, they give it the 25 months. Demu99, they give it the 9 months. Dingbat, they give it the 26. Rod G, they give it the prime. The Jimsy, they give it the 14 months. Rod G, loved your Gavin. Thank you, appreciate it. Dill Pickler, they give it the 25 months. This smut sucks. Bro, it's trying to get me to farm a clue about the Triffin dilemma, and I need to be farming a clue about Nvidia and Oracle. Atrioc after Ari gives birth to their firstborn child. Thank you for the 9 months. +2. +2, good work. Okay? Good work. He would say that. He would say that. Totally. That is exactly what Atrioc would say, I think. Me personally, I think that's what he'd say. I'm getting texted by the. My dad listened to you on Newsom and said you sounded like you could kill for your country. What part? What was the takeaway on that? Yes, I could, by the way. I'm a fucking dyed-in-the-wool patriot. But I don't know if that would be my takeaway if I listened to it back. Did you see Gavin spoon some? Not only did I see it, I showed it to him right after the pod. I was like, Gavin, thanks for inviting me on. Check out what my community made. And I showed him Gavin spoon some. And he laughed so hard he cried. He was roaring. He said, I haven't laughed that hard since I was a young man. Have you tried the roguelike TFT game mode? I didn't even know that shit existed. A roguelike TFT sounds like it'll fucking addict the shit out of me and possibly ruin my life. Roguelike TFT?
Even though he has too much mana.
Oh, it doesn't look that good instantly. It looks kind of slop. Slop. I clicked it. It looks kind of slop. It took me 1 second to look at it. It looks slop as hell. No, you got to polish that shit up. This is Riot we're talking about, dude. Put a little polish on there. Have you done the Bruce Lee elusive target? No, I'm doing it after Fast 52. Probably like early next week. Tuesday, Wednesday, or something like that. It's not that you choose from 3, so the 3 choices look sloppy. Just play Mega Bonk? Dude, I'm worried about playing that too. I heard everyone's getting addicted to Mega Bonk. It's spreading around like a virus in the gaming culture of LA. Everyone I have in my Discord group chats is Mega Bonk addicted. I don't want to touch it. It might fucking ruin my life. Do you guys understand? I have an addictive personality as it is. I have to avoid these things, not jump in head first. So I don't know that I'll play it. I'm not saying I wouldn't. I'm not saying I won't try it, but plus I'm still playing Silk Song. I did roll credits finally. Had an excellent final 2 bosses that I really enjoyed, but I apparently there's like a ton more, and it just makes sense because I feel like I've only scratched the surface of what's possible in that game. So I'm going to play much more Silk Song. That's for sure. Are you going for 112? Whatever the max is, whatever the fucking max is, I'm going to do it. I'm going to get it. I'm going to do the whole full percent. I did it for Hollow Knight 1. I'm going to do it for this game. I don't know that I'll do every ounce of it on stream, but I'll definitely record it all. Because if it takes an infinite amount of running around in circles to get the last couple things, then I'll probably have to fucking record it and not go live. But we'll see. For now, I'm going to play it on stream. Tips for beating Nightmare Grim. He's only got 4 attacks. Just learn them all. He has exactly 4 attacks. Just recognize which one it is and how to dodge it, and then do that infinite times. Tips to beat Radiant Markov. Restart over and over and over until you do a pogo on his head that starts phase 2. Then in phase 2, use the upgraded spell charm to kill him with the shooty spell. You'll have enough mana to kill him. You can do it pretty consistently that way. Shade Soul. Yeah, Shade Soul. Tips to beat Squeaks at 52? At age 52 or at fast 52? Both. Both. Tips to ask my crush out? Go up to her or him or they and start ranking your favorite Hollow Knight bosses in order. If you have a good list, you're in. That's basically how it works. That's how flirting works nowadays. What's your favorite Silksong boss so far? Number one boss in Silksong so far is the Cogwork Dancers. That's the number one boss. And one of my favorite bosses in any video game ever. It's an all-time boss. It's art in boss form. Not that it's like uniquely hard or anything, but it's just a beautiful boss. It's a really fun boss to fight with a really cool final phase. And it's just cool. It's just great. It's a great boss. That's all you can ask from somebody out of boss design. And then I like the final boss. The final boss is really fun. I don't know. I think it's because I played way too much Absolute Radiance, so I was a little bit too prepped for it. But it's still, I love bosses where it's like big things moving, you have to dodge. It's good. I thought it was good. I heard you like Grow the Great. Yeah, I didn't really fuck with Grow the Great, but only because of the run back in the thing before it. I think Grow the Great is a fun boss. Trobio is pretty fun. Trobio is pretty fun. I mean, they're all. I'm not gonna rank them yet. I have to do a tier list when it's all over. But I listen. So far, the game's just great, man. Great bosses. Really, really enjoy it. How do you feel about the tools? I haven't used them. I haven't used fuck all with regards to tools. I just don't. It's not part of my repertoire. So I don't know. People do complain, I guess, about the shards. And I could totally see that. If tools are part of your play style, it might be really annoying to have to go farm shards. That sounds very annoying. But I didn't deal with it. I've always had max shards the whole time because I never used my tools. But for me, I don't like to beat the boss until I feel like I can dodge all the moves. If I luck out and beat the boss before I understand the pattern, I actually am sad. I feel like I want to play it again and I don't get a chance to. So that's the only reason I don't really like any extra stuff. I want to play it more times until I feel like I have this beautiful dance. Fuck that. I wanted to kill Grow as fast as possible. Yeah, I totally understand that. Again, I was getting frustrated, and it's content for me. I'm getting paid. And I was getting frustrated with Grow. I was like, damn, I got to do this. Autism announcement. I fight the boss a couple times without using tools, and I pivot if I find the boss annoying. Yeah, dude, you do you. I think more people just experience this game and play how they fucking want. Why I care how someone else beats it. They put the tools in for a reason, bro, to be used. But also at the same time, I don't like people get in my chat and they're like, why the fuck aren't you spamming your cog flies? Yeti, don't time me out. He's not spamming his cog flies. I have to let him know. He doesn't understand. The cog flies would help him here. He doesn't get it. He's not understand. And I do get it. I just don't want to. I just don't fucking want to. So please, God, shut up. It's like fucking Gavin Newsom was telling me the same thing. He's like, bro, I was watching your VODs. You are not using your cogfly enough. And I was like, Gavin, not you too. He's like, I'm serious. Like, you have all these shards built up and you're not using the cogflies. And it's like, it makes no sense. It frustrates me when I watch your content. And I'm like, Gavin, come on, dude, chill the fuck out. Gavin's hard stuck on Moorwing. Oh, for sure. For fucking sure. In your interview with Gavin Newsom, you're talking about income inequality. You mentioned the Gini coefficient now. Yeah, okay. And you were trying to explain it. Yeah, I can explain it. You guys know. I mean, I guess I didn't mention this. I sent Gavin Newsom's team a bunch of charts before the interview. So I don't want to act like, again, I don't want to give too much credence to the idea that they should be surprised that I talked about economics. I sent these charts. I don't want to leak their email, but like, here, look, I'm going to show, actually, have we uploaded yet? I don't want to leak the email. I just want to make sure I'm not leaking the email. I just need to open this in a new tab. Is this fine? This is the chart I'm talking about. It's not leaking, right? There's nothing. Okay, good. Look. This is what I sent him. So, let me make sure they might leak my email. Fucking zoom in and zoom down. There we go. Okay. This one. All right. Burn bridges. I'm not burning fucking bridges, dude. They said we can't display the charts. We can't display the charts during the broadcast, but they could maybe show them on screen or something. I don't think they ended up doing this, but this is what I was talking about. So this is the share of pre-tax income that went to the top 10% in America. Now you'll notice, starting right here after World War II and going all the way to Ronald Reagan, it is low and flat. Now this is unheard of in human history. And this applies, by the way, to a lot of Western European countries too. People say it's like only because, U.S. won World War II. It's not only because of that. This applied in France, in the UK, in Germany, and a lot of, okay? This is not just, and this period is like this incredible rising middle class where everybody was making more money. Not everybody. Let's say there's some social issues to figure out, but the society was becoming broadly more prosperous and it was getting shared in a wide middle class. Okay. And so what was unique about this time period? Strong unions, high marginal tax rates on the rich, strong antitrust enforcement to prevent consolidation, regulations on banking and finance. Like these things existed here and they allowed the economy to grow massively and share the gains. Okay. And right after Reagan here, that started to unravel and we got a massive change. So like this chart is so important. And this applies again, not just to America. This chart is very similar to Western Europe. And this is like a core of what I'm talking about. There is no country that has had this good of a flat Gini coefficient for that long, for 30 years. This is incredible. Like we should try to be recapturing this. So yeah, that's what I was trying to talk about. If hopefully that makes sense to you. And then the other chart I wanted to show was this, which is just like, goddamn, dude, the idea that you could blame video games in any way for violent gun deaths is crazy, given that like Japan and South Korea and the UK and Canada and Germany all spend about the same amount on video games as us, but have none of the deaths. Like it's very, very obvious that it's not. Yeah, that was a chart I wanted to show. I just had to talk about it. I didn't get to show it. Yeah, there's a couple other charts, but that's the main idea. I don't need to go into it. But that's the Wasn't this the period all people migrants like? So arguments like this, I think, are really stupid because they just point to something random that existed in that period. Wasn't this the period people listened to Elvis and the Beatles? I'm not sure we can replicate that. It's like you better draw a strong connection between inequality and people moving to cities before you make this argument. You're just picking random things from that era and saying we can't. I think there's a very strong correlation between the things I'm talking about, which is union membership, taxes, and antitrust, between the distribution of how the growing wealth is distributed. So I don't like the idea that it's like, well, it could have been it could have been World War II. It could have been America was the industrial. Are you saying this as a joke to rage bait me, or did you not listen to what I said when I showed the graph? I'm actually curious. I'm actually curious because it was 1 minute ago. It was 1 minute ago where I showed the graph and I said, do not make that. Okay, you're rage baiting me. God damn it. So annoying. It's so annoying, bro. It's so annoying. It's so annoying. It's so annoying. I feel like everyone makes an argument every time and I have to constantly disprove it every time. The graph is the same for countries that were destroyed in World War II. Anyway, guys, it's 7 o'clock. Given the time frame, I'm going to do this presentation. This is important. I need to talk about it. And so I'm going to do it right meow. And I'll even play the intro for you. Let me make sure this is all set up. Quick test. Just so I can get into it. Quick test. Quick test. Our glorious leader, Jensen Huang. Okay. Am I not muted? Okay, good. All right. Okay, look, I want to talk about something very, very, very interesting and important, but I've been putting it off. I've been putting it off because I'm afraid to talk too much about Nvidia. Even though it's the most valuable public company on planet Earth, the most valuable company on planet Earth, I've been afraid to talk about it because I don't want to overdo the Nvidia. But I've waited 5 days. I've been holding on to this, and now I have to discuss it. After this Marketing Monday intro, I finally get the chance to talk about this. Listen, the CEO of the world's most valuable company, Jensen Huang, recently had a very big announcement that left me with a lot of questions. And it's not his fashion announcement that he's going to be wearing these weird red glasses now. That one's questionable. That one, I don't know that I can support. I don't think he's pulling them off. I'm sorry. But I'm not fashion forward like him, so maybe. It was about this. The world's most valuable company is investing $100 billion into the world's most valuable private company, OpenAI, linking the two titans of the current age of AI. Obviously, upon this news, Nvidia valuation skyrockets, OpenAI private valuation skyrockets, other chip company valuations skyrocket. But it left me and some other analysts with more questions than answers. There's more going on under the hood of this $100 billion deal that I think we all need to take a closer look at. But before we do that, I have to go back a little bit. I have to introduce a third player to this game. And to explain them, I have to start with bicycles. Okay? I want you to imagine that you run a bicycle shop. This is going to help put you in the context of this announcement. You run a bicycle shop. Okay? That means you buy bicycles wholesale from a factory and you sell them to customers with a markup. That's your business. Okay? This is how a business reports their earnings. They have a top line called revenue. That's where the amount of money you just made in raw cash. If I sold 5 bicycles for 20 bucks each, I made $100 in revenue. That's your top line. Okay. And then on your statement, you will subtract out all your costs. So you might take out wages, 40 bucks, rent, 20 bucks, the bikes themselves from the factory, 30 bucks. And what does that leave you with? Simple math. What does that leave you with? Somebody said 0. That's no, it's not 0. It's $10. $10 of profit. Okay. This is how a business balance sheet might look. This is an income statement might look. Okay. This is your top line. Basically your revenue. And this is your bottom line, your profit after you subtract everything. Okay. So on an actual balance sheet, it might look like this. Income statement might look like this. Okay. This is how it looks in real life. But in the world of investing, you either want to be growing your top line, that means selling more bikes, or you want to be growing your profit, your bottom line, by making more profit. It could be cutting costs, it could be raising prices, whatever. But you have to be growing one or the other to show growth to Wall Street to get your stock price to go up. If you're doing badly on both, that means your company's not doing all that great. This is just a simple primer. Now, I want to introduce Oracle, which is now the 15th largest company in the world. Oracle, massive growth company, and its CEO, Larry Ellison, okay? What Oracle does is they build the data centers that other companies rent out to use for AI. They look like this on the inside and this on the outside, okay? Now, what's very interesting about Oracle 5 days ago, when they had a massive stock surge, is they reported their earnings and they did not beat on the top line and they did not beat on the bottom line. They had no revenue growth and no profit growth. And yet, somehow their stock went to the moon. Why is that? Why would that happen? Why would a stock have bad revenue, bad profit, and still soar? They also had some layoffs, actually. Why would they do that? Truly awesome quarter. Stock goes up 30%. They made Ellison, the CEO of the company, the new world's richest man. He passed Elon Musk. Why would that happen? Big question, okay? Why would Oracle rise to rank 14, being bigger than China's largest company off of no reported revenue growth? The answer is not necessarily bubble or necessarily recession indicator or necessarily anything. It was because of a very simple number. Their RPO number. During the announcement of their earnings, they said, yeah, we didn't beat our expectations for revenue. Yeah, we didn't beat them for earnings. But what we have is growing RPO, remaining performance obligations, which has been rising and rising and rising. And then they announced this. Now, RPO is things we're gonna do, things we haven't gotten paid for yet and haven't done yet. It's work we haven't done yet and haven't been paid for yet. But what it means is like it's deals we've signed that we haven't been paid for yet, is a very simple way to put it. So what they announced was, hey, look, we're not making more money now, but we have signed some deals where they're going to pay us $455 billion in the future for data centers we're going to build but haven't built yet. It's deals, okay? It's deals. And when they announced this, the stock went crazy. Holy shit. There's so much revenue coming. It's not here yet, but it's coming. So let's catch back up. These are the 3 players we've introduced so far: OpenAI, Oracle, and Nvidia. Let's just connect the dots here really quick. So OpenAI doesn't build the data centers themselves. They can rent them from companies like Oracle. So OpenAI is the one that signed this deal, by the way. This $300 billion addition, this plus 300B, came from OpenAI signing a deal to rent some of their data centers, okay? So they are going to give hundreds of billions of dollars to Oracle to rent their data centers. Oracle, when they have to build the data centers, because this is remaining performance, they're going to go to where? To Nvidia. They're going to go and give that $300 billion to Nvidia to buy the GPUs to build the data center. Now, there's one part missing. Where does OpenAI get the money to pay Oracle, to pay Nvidia? Where does this money come from? Because this is a big problem. How does OpenAI get the hundreds of billions of dollars they need to make this gain for Oracle? Again, OpenAI has been searching for ways to finance their $1 trillion AI plan. They don't have the money now. Where do they get the money? And Sam Altman, when asked about it, said this: look, there's always a lot of focus on technological innovation. Everyone's talking about innovating technology. But what really drives progress is we figure out how to innovate financial models. I don't think we figured out the final form of what financing for compute looks like. He wants financial innovation, okay? Well, let's introduce some financial innovation. How do we close this circle? Let's go back to the very first story we talked about. Nvidia to invest $100 billion in OpenAI. Well, that would be a virtuous cycle. That would be a virtuous cycle, okay? Because if Nvidia is going to put money into OpenAI, which is going to rent servers from Oracle, which is going to build servers with Nvidia chips, you've got yourself a real beautiful circle here, an infinite money glitch where all three companies can win. If it reminds you of this image, trust your instincts. But it reminds me of the year 2001, okay? So let's do a magic spell, when this movie was filmed, by the way, and flash back to 2001, the year of Justin and Brittany and Shrek and 9/11 and Smallville and Lord of the Rings and Destiny's Child, okay? It's 2001. There's some good and there's some bad on there, obviously, okay? Let's go back to 2001, during the height of what became known as the dot-com bubble. Now, we've talked about possible parallels between the internet and AI and the bubbly nature of them and how they're still going to be good technologies, but they're a little early. I'm not going to do that today. I'm talking about a very specific part of the dot-com bubble that allowed it to extend itself beyond its natural life cycle. Okay? This is an article from 2002. This wasn't about pets.com. This wasn't about stupid internet startups. This is called the stupid loan bubble. And right after the dot-com bubble imploded, this article was written talking about, hey, there's this really weird part of the dot-com bubble that we should talk about more, the stupid loan bubble. And it was a thing called vendor financing. Now, once I explain what vendor financing is, let me know if it reminds you of anything we've already talked about. Vendor financing, swept up in the free money spirit of the time, businesses were financing not only the customer's purchase of their wares, the switches, routers, and other nuts and bolts of the internet, but the growth of the customer's businesses too. It's kind of like if Ford were loaning customers money to buy cars. Vendor financing was the sickest sign of how things spun out of control in the dot-com bubble. Okay? The makers of internet hardware, maybe the makers of AI hardware, effectively helped to expand and extend the life of the bubble, making its collapse all the more painful. It bought them one more year, but we're finding out the cost of that was high. He opines that vendor financing, which is basically paying your customers to buy your own stuff, became a drug because it's a very easy thing for a company to get addicted to because it makes everything look good. It smooths out your revenue growth. It looks really nice. Let's go back to present day. Now, we know that Nvidia is putting $100 billion into OpenAI, but they actually have a growing investment portfolio. Is this a drug? Let's look at Nvidia nowadays. So we know about this. We know about this loop, okay? That's just happened a few days ago. But have you heard about Nvidia and CoreWeave? CoreWeave is a company that builds data centers, much like Oracle. Recently, they needed kind of a bailout, a lifeline. Nvidia gave them $6.3 billion. They gave them a $6.3 billion lifeline. So now CoreWeave is getting $6.3 billion from Nvidia. And what is CoreWeave doing with that money? Well, it turns out they're going around and buying the latest Nvidia Blackwell GPUs at scale. Okay? And when they asked about this, when the Financial Times asked about this, he said it's a misunderstanding. Nvidia's not giving us access to GPUs because they have some vested interest in us or because we have some advantageous access. Okay? But it's just interesting that so many of the customers keeping this AI data center boom going are often finding themselves financed by the very companies they're buying the data center material from. And it doesn't stop there. Nvidia quietly has been minting a new CoreWeave style AI data center unicorn like every few weeks. Again, just recently in London, there was a company called InScale, a tiny London-based startup. They raised $1.1 billion in an Nvidia-backed funding round. And what did they do? They buy a bunch of GPUs. Do you see how this pattern is playing out? It's possibly an addiction. Okay? InScale, with $700 million in fresh capital from Nvidia, the world's most valuable company, is now being named as an AI infrastructure partner for Nvidia. Additionally, one of the things Nvidia is doing is guaranteeing if you build out data centers with our GPUs and you can't sell them to somebody, we'll pay. They're offering a backstop, a guarantee to take away the risk for when you build it. In the short term, that looks incredible. In the long term, it leads with a lot of it coming back to Nvidia's paycheck and Nvidia's pocketbook. And in fact, when this InScale build out was announced, Jensen Huang said, "I look forward to making a fortune off of you." To the CEO. So, okay, let's go back to our original triangle. Because some people were already asking the important question. People are saying, doesn't Nvidia lose some money from all those cycles? That is a great question. I'm so glad you asked it. Because an astute mind looks at this and goes, wait a minute. OpenAI has salary costs. Oracle has salary costs. If you give them $100 billion, they're not going to actually have $100 billion left over to give to them. It's not going to be one-to-one. You're going to be losing a little bit as the circle goes around. That's very true. The cost of building a 1 gigawatt data center in billions is only 2/3 the GPUs themselves. A lot of it goes to land, construction, and energy. So realistically, Nvidia might give OpenAI $100 billion. They spend $20 billion on salaries, and then $80 billion goes to Oracle. They spend, $20 billion on land and construction, and $60 billion goes back to Nvidia. So there's money being lost in this circle. It's not a forever machine. How does that happen? How does that end up? That's where you come in. You with your phone and Robinhood out. That is where your involvement is very important. Okay? You and Wall Street and everybody's 401k that automatically buys the biggest companies. Okay? As this machine, as this triangle goes round and round and round, everyone on the outside gets more and more excited and dumps their money in to these growing companies. Here's an example. After Nvidia and OpenAI announced their $100 billion deal, guess what? There's a global chip stock rally. The 401ks pile in, Wall Street piles in, you pile in. That's your money going in, okay? Then when we get to OpenAI, OpenAI gets a private market surge. They're hitting $500, $600 billion valuation. That's money flowing in, okay? Then we get to Oracle. Oracle shares skyrocket as software giant scores massive AI deals with OpenAI. The same $100 billion is flowing around, but it's causing more and more outside money to flow in excitement. The infinite money glitch comes from you and me and our 401ks, okay? They can circle this around forever, and we keep pumping money in. That's the scheme. So how does this end? That is the question. So far, it's working great. 100 billion might turn to 200 billion next year, 300 billion next year. They keep moving money around and everyone's happy and there shows growth. How does it end? What's the downside? There's two ways. And I'm going to give the optimistic, happy Jensen way, and I'm going to give the pessimistic, sad Jensen way. The optimistic way. If you were to ask Jensen Huang himself, he spoke about this on a podcast. If you were to ask Jensen himself, he would say, if you were to really confront him with these numbers, he would say this circle will go round and round and round with more money going in until OpenAI or one of these companies in the top left here, could be Meta, could be Microsoft, one of these companies gets AGI. And once they get AGI, the profits will be insurmountable and it will all pay for itself. If we get AGI, then all of what I'm saying will sound pretty stupid because this will make untold balloons amounts of money. AGI is artificial general intelligence, AI that is smarter than humans at every task. If we get AGI within the life cycle of before this whole thing goes belly up, then it's all worth it. Then OpenAI's profits will be crazy. They can pay Oracle, can pay Nvidia, and everyone gets paid back. That's the idea. Now, if that doesn't happen, here's the pessimistic take. Here's the more like .com bubble take. The .com bubble take is that this triangle will break once one of these three cannot make their payments. And I'm pointing to the one I think is most likely. Once one of these three can no longer afford the hundreds of billions of dollars they've promised. Again, they've actually promised like trillions to Oracle and other companies like that, not just 100 billion. They've promised trillions. If they can't make that money, then suddenly Oracle's statements, their earnings statements look bad, and they can't afford to buy more chips, and then it all breaks down, okay? So OpenAI currently doesn't make any money. Their CEO is willing to run the loss, but they're losing billions. They make $4 billion in revenue, but have $9 billion in costs. This is last year. It's actually exploded since then. But they lose money. They're a cash incinerator right now. So eventually, if people stop putting money in, they can't make these payments. It's a mystery business model currently. Even their CEO, Sam Altman, said, somebody is going to lose a phenomenal amount of money. When bubbles happen, smart people get overexcited about a kernel of truth. There is a kernel of truth. AI is a very powerful technology, but someone somewhere might be getting overexcited about it. Now, the call would be coming from inside the house because you are currently losing a lot of money. The CEO of Alibaba is saying, beware a swelling bubble in AI data centers. I start to get worried when people are building data centers out on spec. That means they're building it out without having the money from their customer yet, which is exactly what's happening with Oracle. But Mark Zuckerberg is telling us there's nothing to worry about. A few billion here or there won't matter to get where we're going.
I do think that there's definitely a possibility, at least empirically based on past large infrastructure build-outs and how they led to bubbles, that something like that would happen here.
But
from Meta's perspective, I think the strategy is actually pretty simple. It's it's at least in terms of building out the infrastructure, it's no one knows when super intelligence is going to be possible. Is it going to be 3 years? Is it going to be 5 years? Is it going to be 8 years? Whatever. Is it never going to happen? But I don't think it's never going to happen. I'm more ambitious or optimistic. I think it's going to be on the sooner side. But let's say that you weren't sure if it was going to be 3 or 5 years. Like in a conservative business situation, maybe you'd like hedge building out your infrastructure because you're worried that if you build it out assuming it's going to be 3 years and it takes 5, then you've lost maybe a couple $100 billion or something. I mean, my view is that
that's a lot of money.
Well, no. Well, I was going to say, in the grand scheme, it is objectively a huge amount of money.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, didn't you just tell Trump you were going to spend like $600 billion? I mean, that's
I did. Yeah, through 2028, which is
that's a lot of money.
It is. And if
here's the line,
we end up misspending a couple of $100 billion, I think that is going to be very unfortunate, obviously. But what I'd say is I actually think the risk is higher on the other side. If you build too slowly and then super intelligence is possible in 3 years, but you built it out assuming it would be there in 5 years, then you're just out of position.
Then you're screwed. So as long as people like Zuck still exist and they're willing to throw hundreds of billions of dollars and possibly lose it for the fear that they'll be too late to AGI, then I think this cycle can keep going. But if that cracks for a moment, it feels like this triangle is really inflating something we haven't seen before in human history. But until then, as long as Zuck's partying, then we have to party on like it's 2001. Thanks for watching. That's my update on vendor financing and round tripping revenue. Hope you enjoyed. I have to dip probably right about now. I'm going to go to Fast 52, but thank you for watching. And I could answer any questions if you have them, but I'm going to be gone soon. Do you agree with Zuck's premise that we are going to back at AGI? I assume eventually, yeah. Yeah. If AGI is defined as an AI that's better than humans at all tasks, yeah, I would say that. I think what Zuck is saying, though, it sounds so similar to what people would say in 2001, which is it's just going to take, I think it's going to take longer, and especially going to take longer to find sustainable revenue. And so I think it's very easy for him to say, like, I don't mind spending a few $100 billion and losing it. But I think he's saying that thinking that it'll be really fast and he won't lose it. And I think as the bills, he said the same thing about the metaverse, and then he's changed his tune on that really quick once the bills started coming due. Most companies talk like this at the beginning, and then they change their mind really quickly once you start looking at people say this about esports. I don't mind losing money on esports salaries. I'll spend like crazy. It's be worth it when the industry grows. But then it didn't grow enough to justify it, and suddenly they had to cut all their... This happens with a lot of things, bro. And the people that come in and pick up the pieces at the end usually end up winning, and not the ones that are just dumping infinite piles of money in the incinerator in the gold rush. Is what USA companies are doing for AI and AGI different than what the rest of the world's doing? AI and AGI is only the product right now of two countries. It's either China or America. No other country is close right now, just being super real. Not even close. Just the amount of money. It's just not, it's like 1/50th in other, it's not, it's China or it's America. Countries are investing in it, don't get me wrong, but it's like it's all small scale. So that could either be, that could either mean that these countries, China and America, are ahead on this race, or it could also be they're blowing way more money. And they won't, they're inflating a bigger bubble. Or it could be both. It could honestly be both. Do you think the AI race is really important as the thing is made out to be? I am thinking about AI the same way that I think about the internet, bro. Is that it eventually became a huge part of commerce and everyone's everyday life and business, and it's very important. But it took a lot longer than everyone thought. And that's how I think about AI right now. I think I feel like this feels like 2001, where everyone's like, oh, next year AI is going to replace every business. And I think it's going to be increasingly important, but take a lot longer to have the revenues to justify the spend. Why would current economic model exist after AGI? It probably wouldn't, which is why they're so not worried about spending so much money. Because the idea is if someone else gets AGI and you don't, your business doesn't really exist. There's no advantage to be Google if Meta has AGI. They'll replace everything you do. That's the idea. That's why they're racing so hard. Like here, I'll give you a clip. I'll give you a clip that sums it all up, and then I gotta go.
Is back with
I got a perfect clip for this. Here.
One of the most.
This is a clip
One of the
from 1997 in the BBC.
most talked about developments of the late 1980s has been the growth of the internet. Even the Queen mentioned it in her golden wedding speech this week. But although it's clearly had a huge impact in lots of ways, there's also a growing suspicion that some of the early expectations of the way it would change our lives may have been exaggerated. This week, a report from Verdict Research cast doubt on the significance of internet shopping in the next few years.
So when we listen to this now, it's like almost laughable. It's like, of course, internet's going to change shopping. But it turns out they were right because she said in the next few years. And there was a massive bubble. It was way, way overhyped, and it didn't actually change the world of. Eventually it did, but it took like 15, 20 years. It took a lot longer time. So it's funny because what she's saying is verifiably kind of like old school. Like, oh, the internet, is it really going to change everything? But also it was 100% the right thesis at the time. It can be both things. And that's how I feel about AI. That is how I feel about AI. I think people that are like, it'll never change anything are stupid. They're wrong. But people are like, it's going to change everything tomorrow are also wrong. I think it's going to take, like most things, a while. And that's the update. That's what I think. I don't think you can compare the internet to AI. I just did. I just did. I can and I did. So deal with it. And I hope you guys enjoy. Thanks for watching. I have to go. Speed run. Goodbye.